I put.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
record the meeting. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I put the agenda. So the first thing is like, is that possible to like populate or like surface the resource ID for the job in the managed cluster to the Karmada control plane level. So we asked this feature because I can explain how our workflow currently on our cluster. So basically, when users submit the job from our API, so currently the job will directly to the to a specific cluster, and then the user will get the job ID. It's like that job ID is just like the UID for the resource. It's just from the XCD give this UID, and then user can use this UID to query one of our database to get the job specs. So the database is like we audit all the job. The audit like it's like Kubernetes we turn on the audit, and then those information is saved in our database, and our database save the job spec. So even if the job is deleted from our target cluster or like the training cluster, user can still use that job ID to query the database to get their job spec. So this is kind of how it works. The problem currently is that we introduced Karmada as our federation layer. So when users submit a job, we need to find a way to get the real resource ID on the training cluster, like on the managed cluster. Otherwise, so the workaround now I think is like when the job submitted to the Karmada control plane from our federation, from our API, we have another API on top of Karmada, like give that to the user. And then so the Karmada will create the resource binding, right? And when the job is submitted to the target cluster, from the resource binding, we will know the cluster and the job name, and we can use that information to get the job from the target cluster. But it's more like our federation API need to know the target cluster, like the CNAME and token, right? So, but we don't want to do that. So we want to like the federation API just talk to Karmada. And is that possible, like or like from your, or I don't know if other clients have those, like other user of Karmada have this requirement. They want to have the metadata on the target cluster surface back to the Karmada control plane. So currently in the resource binding, we have the job name, the target cluster, or the target cluster, and also the job status, but we don't have those job metadata.
Yeah, what's the metadata you want to get back from member cluster?
It's just the compute job metadata on the member cluster, right? Because on that metadata, we will have that resource ID.
Oh, you're basically trying to see how from the Karmada layers, UID, how to get the member clusters UID.
Yeah, is that possible, like to get those UID on the Karmada control layer? Otherwise, our federation API need to talk to the target cluster or talk to the manager cluster. That's not ideal, right? Because I want our API only talk to Karmada. Yeah. Do you think it?
Hongcai, is this clear to you? I can draw a graph if you are still, if it's not super clear yet.
Yeah, let me try to understand your case. You want to get job metadata from
the target cluster.
Right?
Yeah. And then those information can surface back to some resource in the Karmada control plane.
Yeah, Hongcai, I can try to draw a graph for you. I think this will explain better. So this is we have a API here. This is a HTTP service. HTTP service. And in this API, we have endpoint to get job. So we already have a get job by name. And last week when we did a review, so we have a UI team on top of us, right? They need to call over API to find the status of that job. But the way they get status before, that we have a like archiving database. So what they need is they want get job by UID. So this is what they want. So this is our API layer, and below the API layer, this is our Karmada. So this is the Karmada's deployment. And then below Karmada deployment, this is a member cluster. For example, cluster 1 is here, right? And then inside this cluster, we'll have a job. And then it will have UID, which is like, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And in Karmada layer, there will be another job. But in Karmada, the UID will be different. Maybe it's like, let's say 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
So what Yao is asking is that this API will talk to Karmada's, using a kube client to talk to Karmada's API server. And it will find this UID. And then from this UID, how do we get this UID back?
Yeah, it's more like or say, yeah, the job is created in the Karmada layer. Associated with job, you have the resource binding. I think in the resource binding, we have the real job status. Like those job status is surfaced back from the cluster 1, right? So is that possible in that resource binding? We add the job metadata in the target cluster.
And Hongcai, another challenging is that job only has one UID. But if there's some other resource, for example.
Oh no, the secret, I checked the secret. Our archive like database doesn't save the secret. The secret is calling directly from the managed cluster, and not, I don't think it's, yeah, we can also ask.
But I think because I guess when Karmada layer need to make a change, it probably need to be generic, right? So for job, the propagation policy will say it will only propagate into one cluster. But if it's a config map or secret, then it's possible that there's cluster 1, and then there's a cluster 2. And then there will be a secret UID. Let's say this is 1111, and then this is 2222, and in the Karmada layer, there is also a UID, maybe it's 3333. So it becomes a one-to-many mapping for static resource, right?
Yeah, I think maybe the better place is put that metadata in the resource binding, because in the resource binding, even for the duplicate strategy, it will have kind of a list. Like
so it's an array that each one. Okay.
Yeah, it's a placement. In that resource binding, you have the target cluster, and you have the real job status from the cluster, but there is no metadata.
Do you currently have a resource binding example like at hand? So I guess the question is that once Karmada schedule a resource binding into a member cluster, and that resource get created in member cluster, can that information still be surfaced back to the Karmada layer? So Karmada know the UID down here.
Let me find a resource binding. Let me give you a secret one. Sorry, give me 1 second.
So Hongcai, is there any other part of Karmada requires like fetching some information from member cluster into this layer at all?
Yeah, I think it's a common use case that I don't think we let me try to add something to the agenda.
Either can you share the mirror? I can put the
Yeah.
example in the mirror.
Yes. Yeah, I share the board with you. And this is the link I'm posting in Zoom. Yeah, I'm also sharing the agenda. I think Hongcai is typing. Oh,
No, you
Yeah.
cannot share this is our
no, I'm just sharing the
You send a link to the chat, right?
yeah, that link is for you to edit the mirror board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and am I also sharing the agenda Google Doc on my screen? So Hongcai, I saw you mentioned it could be either use Karmada search or Fleet API.
Yes. I think it's a common case that people might want to search resources from target cluster. So we have tried two approaches. One is the Karmada search. Let me see if we have some document about it.
I also look at the Karmada search, but behind that it need open search, or we still need a storage behind that, right? And then no.
Actually, Karmada search can catch
Yeah, but it's still like you have to save those information and then do the search, right? And then so if we get information from here, it's kind of like our critical component. And then the storage behind this, or even the internal cache, we have to make it DR minus like disaster recover, right? That's the thing. That's from our concern. And
I'm sorry, what's your question?
you see the Karmada search, like it's also like to be backend by some storage, right? Even if in the memory. So suppose if this service is gone, if it is only in memory, then those information is gone, right? We need another storage behind this search. So and then this search will be like what our critical components. So which means like the backend or the back storage of this Karmada search should be like follow our DR disaster recover like requirement. It's more like we have another dependence, and then if the backend storage using Elasticsearch, I don't know if there is a dedicated team I think Elasticsearch maybe, I'm not quite sure. We need a dedicated team to provide the support for those storage. So that is why I have some concern using
what is
Karmada
the
search.
Fleet API approach? And maybe what is the Fleet API approach if we don't want to use search?
Fleet API is a pretty it's still in experimenting and hasn't been released for now. Let me see. The difference between Karmada search and Fleet API is that Karmada search use the cache to store the resources, and Fleet API just like a real-time API.
Do you have
Let
the
me see.
doc? Yeah, do you have doc or like the proposal we can check?
Proposal. I don't think no proposal yet. We now. Let me see if I can. Let me try to find some example.
Oh, and Yao, let's say if we cannot do the search on Karmada layer, another backup solution is that over API need to talk to member cluster directly, right? That's the backup
that's
solution.
the backup solution.
So
I still need to, we still have a workaround way, but I want to find a better way to solve it.
Yeah, but when you do lookup in the member cluster, then you will have to look up based on name, and
based
then
on
find
name and the namespace.
based on name and
That is
namespace. Yeah, and then you try to find the UID.
the UID for the user.
Okay, and then you can link the UID at Karmada layer and the member cluster layer together.
No, we just return it back to the user. So when then we can let me think about that. It's kind of a workaround, but I still need to think about how to make it work properly.
The UID we return back should be the UID on Karmada layer, right? On the Karmada layer.
On the target layer. Because can we catch up the workaround solution offline? Yeah. I don't. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to change our libretto now.
Sorry. Do you mean the workaround? Do you mean the workaround is sync the jobs metadata to resource binding?
So the ideal way is like we can have those metadata in the resource binding, because currently in the resource binding the metadata is the job. I posted here the metadata here. If you look the metadata here is the job metadata in the Karmada control layer. So is that possible in this resource binding? We have both. We also have the metadata of the job in the target cluster. That's the ideal way.
You want to put it here, right? I want to put it in because this is a list per cluster. So potentially can add something like UID or resource ID.
Or the whole metadata.
Oh yeah, or resource metadata.
Something like that. I don't know if it is possible, but if we can do that, ideally it will solve our problem like directly, like we get this UID from control plane. If not, which means like the HTTP server on top of Karmada, that layer need to talk to the target cluster. That's too much work. So it means
actually, Hongcai, I think one question for you is how does resource binding get the status, because it seems like it has a applied status and has the cluster name. It also has more, it also actually fetched the job
Yeah,
status
this is-
back as well. So if it already fetched the job status back, I think it's very likely it can find the metadata spec as well, and then you can just plug it in here from the resource binding reconciler.
Yeah, I think Meta have a way to get the job back.
Technically, we can do that from technically.
Yeah, technically,
but I
if
don't
that's
think it's a common solution.
for all the
Because
community, right?
in your case, you need the metadata, but for the other users,
They may not. Yeah.
need it. Yes.
It's more like if other user, they want to know the metadata from the assigned or the target cluster. That's the question.
Yes. We have a use case that for example, people might deploy deployment to target cluster, and they want to get the pods from the target cluster.
They want to get sorry,
Get pod. Yeah.
Oh, the pod. Okay, yeah.
So in this case, pods not in the Karmada API server, so they have to they need a way to get the pod from target cluster. That's why we introduced the Karmada search to do that.
Yeah, the thing is like we can try Karmada search. That's the thing I definitely want to try. That on our dev environment we can try that, but I need to think I need to find like how to deploy the backend storage like for the search properly, and that's our main concern. It's more like how.
I don't get you. You say that actually the backend not the not paired search itself can cache the results in memory.
Yes. So I agree. So I need to think about so it definitely can cache like in memory. The problem like if it restart and then the cache is gone, right? And then I need to think if there is any impact for us. Let me think about that, and then we can. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Maybe-
feel I feel we can start with submit a Git issue to Karmada, and but at the same time this is not a blocker for us as well. We do have a workaround, but so Hongcai, let me explain the workaround. So ideally, the ideal solution is that we can put the resource metadata here. That's what Yao is trying to propose.
Oh, yeah, this is one. The other thing is like, as long as we can get it from the control point, no matter it's in resource binding or we have another customer resource, it doesn't have to be exact here. If it is here, it's much easier. I mean, as long as those information can surface back to the Karmada control point, that's an ideal case. It means like our HTTP API server doesn't need to know the manager cluster. That's our goal.
So let me also clarify. So there are two approaches, right? One is to surface that information up through resource bindings, aggregated status. Another approach, Hongcai, which is going to be some burden on our side, is that this API that we own, put on top of Karmada. This API, in addition to talk to Karmada, also need to talk to each member cluster's API server directly, and try to look up the UID. That's a workaround we can do from our side. But ideally, since the resource binding already talk to the member cluster and fetch the status back, adding here seems to be the most convenient way. But from your side, do you have like concern about
Yeah,
putting-
if you want to sync the metadata to result binding, you might have to change the API, right?
Yeah, the API, yeah.
Oh, you need to
then-
change the API spec, right? So that's going
Yeah,
to
the
be a
API,
breaking
yeah.
change.
That's the biggest concern from us,
I
from
see.
me.
Yes. How about like we put the issue, and on our side, let me try the search. Let me think about yeah.
Yeah, I also think just letting this API to talk to member clusters also
It's a
not
workaround.
that, yeah, it's
But
also
it-
not that, it's also not that much
But
trouble.
No, the problem is like every time you add the new cluster, you also have to register that cluster to your HTTP server, right? Because
Oh,
your
I see.
that's the because HTTP should be no nothing. All the federation should be only go to the federation layer.
Oh, I see, I see.
Go
what you- So
nothing.
every time we add a new
Yeah,
cluster, we need to do
yeah.
a deployment
And
here.
then every time you coordinate a cluster, you also need to let that layer know. It's kind of like we want to do this isolation. Let me think about the
Actually,
workaround.
yeah, I think, yeah, I got your concern. That's very, also Hongcai, if the command layer doesn't handle it, then every time a new cluster get added, we need to change the configuration of the service and do another deployment, which is very inconvenient. And so another question I have. So I think your concern is to changing the API of resource
Yes.
binding. But what if we
Yes.
add this as an optional field? So it's like backward compatible. Would that be better?
It's still like the API change
It's-
for them.
Oh, it's
it's-
still API.
Yeah,
But
they
it's
need
backward compatible. Once it releases, it won't like break anyone else using the previous version, right? So we can add an optional field.
How about we post the issue and put our suggestion, and then maybe at the same time we try the Karmada search. Maybe it's okay now. Is that okay? Either let both of us we let take some time to think about that. So
Okay. So
yeah,
not
it's-
only in
yeah.
Karmada search, there's also something called Fleet API, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, if you have that example, can you or in the doc we can also try that out.
Okay, I can link some doc to the issue.
Yeah, that would
Okay.
be great.
Actually, I have another idea in my just in my mind, because I'm thinking to introduce a feature to sync the whole resource from target cluster to Karmada.
Oh, you want to another customer resource to.
Yes.
I see. I see. You also want
for
to solve the pod.
yeah. For example, in your case, you can tell
Oh,
Karmada.
that is too much, right? It means like all the managed cluster, all those resources will sync to your XCD. So for example, the manager. So if you manage like 4 cluster, it means like all the cluster, those workload will be synced to your XCD. That do you think is that's too much? Yeah.
Yeah.
We can still think about. I just like in my mind that I mean all the components also include the pods. If people also use deployment, there's like deployment on that. Then they have status and they have pods and the service, and you are going to sync all those things on the Karmada XCD. That I personally think for us is okay. For public cloud, that's too much.
Yes, that's the biggest concern. But it's a simple. It might be useful for for users that don't have so much clusters.
Cluster,
don't have-
yeah, it's ideal for us. I mean, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can brainstorm and put out option there, and then from our side we can try the search, and also Yuzhi also mentioned the fleet API, and you also sent it like example for us.
Okay, I will try to share an example.
Curtis, did you see the, were you on the thread with the needle?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it's almost like at the end. It's almost 11:30 something.
Yeah.
Our last item is like, do you have time to help us like publish the home chart in the?
Oh yeah,
home-
we're gonna deploy the Karmada internally next spring. So if you can publish that home chart, then we can start to use it.
Yeah, but we still have workaround. We can like sync the. I mean, as long as we have the plan, that is okay.
Actually, I'm looking how to set up the repository, and
Do you think
do
we
you
can
know
help?
how for now I don't know how we can do that yet.
Oh, so you mean like to create a repository and then set up the sync? Is that how?
I don't familiar with the artifact hub. Can you help to make a list of tasks to tell us how to do that? For example,
I see.
first we need to create
I
a
see.
repository, and that requires a maintainer from Karmada to create it, and then you might need a token configured in the repo, and second might be I don't know if we need to introduce another workflow to
sync the
sync the chart to the hub.
home.
Hey,
I
Hongcai,
see.
just a question, like previously, how do people get home chart? Just from the just copy from the repo and then build a home chart themselves?
Sorry, Yuri, I don't follow you.
My question is like before, sorry. So previously, how do people get Karmada home chart? So can you see my screen here? So I saw there's a chart folder here. So this is not published to the what is called the what is the
home
home chart
registry.
report harbor registry. So how normally how other users get it? They just like check out the repo and then just install from local like this?
Actually, I don't usually maintain the
home
chart,
chart.
you know. So, but I know each release will maintain a chart repo, right? Just in the Karmada repo.
So how about like I can spend some time to do some homework to figure out how to what's the steps to set up the a chart in the home register, and then I can document step, and then we can work on that together. Is that okay?
We can ask
Yeah.
Sambaf, right? I think BuildPack
Yeah,
already
I can ask
publishing.
about this afternoon we can ask. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds great. I'm still looking at the doc. Okay, I think you can have to open an issue and split the task there, and please tell us what's your plan and schedule to us. Okay.
Yeah, let's chat with Sandbox to see how they did it for build pack, and then yeah, Hongchai, we can share the steps with you guys.
Yeah, and then I will create an issue to.
And
explain
Yao,
how-
if there's no chart in the hopper, we can
Oh, we just like
we just create a hum
copy
chart.
it.
We
Yeah,
just create a hum chart internally, right?
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
yeah.
Work
So
around, yeah.
so Hongchai, I think both issue we are talking about today both have a workaround.
Yeah, it's not blocker for
It's
us.
not like a blocker for, yeah.
I get it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. I
Yeah.
think we're
you
at
very
time
much.
as well. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hongchai, will you be at Paris?
I'm requiring I'm request the
visa.
visa for now.
Oh, nice. Then we can, yeah, we can meet in person. But happy Spring Festival.
Yeah, happy New
Okay.
Year.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.